Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. And a very warm welcome to Sunday's edition of the DC Universe Daily. Sometimes I'm embarrassed to be a DC fan. Sometimes I'm embarrassed to associate myself with some of you fellow DC fans. Why? Let's get into it. James Gunn has confirmed that George Clooney, yes, George Clooney will not be the DCU Batman. But did we really need James Gunn to clarify this? You people are an embarrassment. You actually believe the rumour that George Clooney, of all people, was going to play Batman. A lot of you have been over on Twitter wasting your oxygen. Boba Talks, many other unknown DC fans who actually believed this was a possibility, or that Christian Bale was going to be the DCU Batman. That was a little bit more believable, but not very. All because Grace Randolph told you there's a third Batman in the Flash movie. We'll get into the Flash movie. Big day today if you're a DC fan and a Flash fan, because at tonight's Super Bowl, at around, I think, 6 p.m, we finally get to see the Flash movie trailer. For a lot of us, we won't get to see this till Monday morning because of the time differences over in Europe, between Europe and America. We'll get there. We'll talk about it. If any of you watching this video actually believe that George Clooney had the chance to be the DC Universe's Batman, please don't talk to me for a fucking week. You really believed, because of what something Grace Randolph said, that George Clooney was going to be Batman. So James Gunn said absolutely not, and has confirmed the DCU Batman is going to be a brand new actor, as he always was. And you lot knew this. You knew that James said that the DCU Batman would only be a few years or a couple of years older than a 25-year-old Superman, or around that age. So how can George Clooney, basically an old geezer, or Christian Bale, who must be around 50 now, maybe more, who knows? I think someone told me his age yesterday. I think he's about 50. Was going to be the DCU Batman. All because of something Grace Randolph said. She said there's going to be a third Batman in the Flash movie. Let's think about this. Ben Affleck, Michael Keaton, oh yes, and Robert Pattinson for a split second when Barry's in the Speed Force appears. And I mean for a split fucking second. I don't know if that's still in the movie. It was in the test screening that I saw. But, of course, it's not beyond the realm of possibility that the new actor playing Batman, the fresh, brand new actor playing Batman, not George Clooney, could appear in his new role at the end of this movie. Right? But there was never a chance of George Clooney returning as Batman. Now, maybe George, turns up for a split second in the Speed Force as well. I do not know about that. And I tell you what, some of the disrespect George Clooney gets, a really good actor, a superstar, a good guy, a brilliant guy, the disrespect this guy gets is disgusting. Because even George sees the funny side as his stint as Bruce Wayne and Batman. So I can watch his Batman movie and enjoy it. It's a lot of fun to watch Batman and Robin. It doesn't matter that it lost money, because I wasn't a Warner Brothers shareholder at the time, and I'm not now. So it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if that movie was a flop. You can't deny it's a very entertaining Batman movie. It is not a good Batman movie. No question about it. But there's some good things about it. I think George and Michael Goff did really well in that storyline when Alfred was dying. I thought that was brilliant, and George did really, really well. But George was only cast as Batman because he was a name. He was the guy that was getting all the work at the time. People became obsessed with his character, the doctor he played in ER. He did a great job in ER, because George Clooney actually is quite a solid actor, by the way. But this was never going to be a reality. I mean, you people will believe anything you read on the internet, or some half-decent, attractive scooper on YouTube tells you, why do you people always believe Grace Randolph? If Grace Randolph did a video right now and said, you know that really sexy, good-looking guy, Mick, on Movies TV Mag, who I watch all the time, because I think he's hot, right? You know, he really does it for me. Apparently he's going to play Lex Luthor. Would you believe her? Of course you wouldn't. Of course you wouldn't, right? Because there's no way I'm playing Lex Luthor, even though I'm fucking bald and I shake my head. Now, I'd love to play Lex Luthor, but it ain't happening, right? So if you wouldn't believe that, all right, it's me. You know I wouldn't get a fucking role like that. Okay. Even though I'm a trained actor, okay, and I act. But I'm never getting that role, okay? And you know I'm not going to get that role. But you all knew how ridiculous this rumour was. You knew it was ridiculous. Now, of course, you know, the Snyderverse stands will always use any opportunity to try and knock what James Gunn's doing. So there's a list, right? This is an interesting list I saw from the Snyderverse stand on Twitter. No, bear with me. I'm gonna just talk today. It's not just about one subject. It's about this, the Flash movie, and who knows what other territory I'm going to go into in the next 25 minutes. So this is the list on this guy's, on this Snyder stand's tweet. Oh, George Clooney is Batman. Disgusting. They're sacking Sasha Calle and replacing her with a white Supergirl. Hang on. Like, Cara Zor-El is actually white, my friend. No, stop. I have no issue with a Latino actor playing Supergirl. But, let's be clear here, Cara Zor-El is white. Now, I don't know if there's Latino versions of Supergirl, like a separate character to Cara in the comics, or, you know, an African-American, you know, black. And I'm okay to see those adapted, just like I'm great, you know, to see President Superman, who's a Superman of colour, or Val Zod, who's a Superman of colour, adapted, but I don't want Kal-El being played by a black actor. Maybe I'd be somewhat more forgiving if it was a Latino actor, right? But anyway, you know, Kal-El is white, Cara Zor-El is white. So again, Mr. Propaganda Merchant, you know, this is bullshit. Now, don't get me wrong. As an actor myself, my heart breaks for Leslie Grace and Sasha Calle. Sasha Calle was that far away from being the Supergirl in the DC Extended Universe's brand new timeline. That's huge for an actor, a young actor like that. And I'm sure she would have been a great main timeline Supergirl in Kara. I think she's great from what I saw in the Flash movie. And Leslie Grace shot a Batgirl movie. Later, she found out via social media, not by the studio, that her job was done and that movie was shelved. And don't think for a minute, as an actor myself, I am not devastated for Leslie and Sash. I really am. Absolutely devastating. And I don't know the rights and wrongs of it. You know, this is the industry, by the way. This can happen in the industry. There's, you know, being an actor is an uncertain, you know, present and future. You never know, because once you sign, when you sign on that dotted line, they can do whatever they want to you, which means they can tell you to stand on top of a fucking building and balance on a fucking leaf, even if it's fucking dangerous. And even if you don't want to do that, you've signed on the fucking dotted line. They own your arse. What they can also do is say, nah, you've done all that work, you ain't going to be in the movie. I think Michael Rosenbaum on this week's Talkville was talking about, you know, the work he did in the Arctic episode, his final full episode as being, you know, a regular on Smallville. And he did something, I forgot what he said he did, but it was pretty dangerous. And it wasn't even in the episode. And Michael seemed very frustrated about that. They own your ass. It's as simple as that. They can get you to do anything, but they can also cut you at any time. There's very few rights for actors in this game. So you may see them looking glorious and glamorous and, you know, killing it in their roles. And you think, wow, they're earning loads of money. Not all actors earn loads of money. By the way, it's only the chosen few. But it isn't the life you think it is. Being an actor is very uncertain, But when you get work and you're able to harness the art form, it's beautifully empowering, and this is why we do it. So, yes, the George Clooney thing is a joke. I can only laugh. It's not a joke. Look, I don't mind people spreading bullshit rumours. What I mind is intelligent people actually falling for this. Chris Wong Svensson, a YouTuber I admire, one of the many YouTubers that inspired me to launch my own channel back in, I think, July of 2018, actually went onto Twitter and said this: I hope it's not George Clooney as the DCU Batman. Chris, you're an intelligent bloke. You're an intelligent gentleman. And you actually came out and said this with a straight face. Soups, we all know Soups, right? Came out and said James Gunn has confirmed that George Clooney isn't going to be the DCU Batman. Of course he's not. You didn't need James to tell you that. You didn't need James to tell you it's a new actor. It was obvious from the very beginning. This is a rebooted timeline. We know that. James says that the Flash movie creates a new timeline. He said this, and I've still got people in my comments going, well, actually, that's not what's going to happen. They're just doing the multiverse thing. Now, in the Flash movie, they're doing the multiverse thing. But the Flash movie sets a new timeline for a new universe. That's what's happening. Now, you can create your own realities in your little brains and say, well, that's not actually what's happening, Mick. I know what's happening. I've tried to explain to you what's happening. The problem with people on social media today, they take the truth, they screw it up, toss it over their shoulders, then write something and believe it's true because they want it to be true, right? I want my team Manchester United to win the league. It ain't gonna fucking happen, right? And this ain't a Manchester United video, so let's stop talking about United, here and now. But the point is, George Clooney was never going to be Batman. And if you ever believe that, oh my God, you are an embarrassment to this fandom. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm drawing a line onto this very embarrassing conversation. How could you? How could you actually go on social media and embarrass yourselves? And actually go, I don't want George Clooney as a DCU Batman. You seriously believed that George Clooney was going to be Batman? Nah, you lot are lost. You actually believe what Grace Randolph tells you, and I think you can't be helped. The amount of times Grace Randolph has got it wrong. Flashpoint in Wonder Woman, a man's private parts in a hard drive in a diamond in Birds of Prey. Wrong. She was shamed and outed on Twitter by Kathy Yan, the director of Birds of Prey. But still, you think this woman's a fucking good source. She'll mark a film down if a woman's hair isn't to her liking. This woman is a nut job. Simple as that. Don't get me wrong. She's got lots of movie knowledge. When she's talking seriously about movies, I like her and I'll watch her YouTube channel. But this woman is not a good scooper and she talks a lot of crap. She knows very, very little. The reason she may know a few things about the Flash movie, because the Flash movie was made under Toby Emmerich during a different leadership where she had a little bit of inside knowledge of. But going forward, she's not going to know jack shit about the DCU. Now, we know that she hates James Gunn, and we know that James Gunn can't stand her. Now, to be honest, James Gunn isn't alone here. Most people don't like Miss Grace Randolph in the industry. She's a petty annoyance, and she will do anything, like they all will, to get the clicks and the likes, and they're not really embarrassed how to do it. Anyway, let's leave that nonsense behind. So, as I said earlier, today is the day we finally see a 2.5 minute trailer of the Flash movie and a TV spot as well. And I'm very, very excited. Now, like me, unless I stay up to a ridiculous hour, I'm going to have to wait till tomorrow to see this, and we will react, right? I said this last week when I got it all wrong. I said last week it was the Super Bowl and we were going to see the Flash trailer. I was wrong, but I uploaded the video anyway, and I apologised in the comments, didn't I, and pinned it, because I couldn't be bothered to do another video. Because it was a good video as far as I was concerned. I thought, why waste a good video? But anyway, we're right on today. We're getting the Flash movie trailer at this week's Super Bowl. It's a very exciting event, and it's about time too. Can't wait to see that trailer. And as I say, on tomorrow's Movies TV Mad, we will have a trailer reaction for the Flash movie, so please tune in for that. I can't wait to see this trailer, to actually see to see these scenes completed, because when I saw the test screening, test screenings are not a complete movie and not everything's finished, right? As I've tried to explain many times before. So I'm very, very excited. Now, some people are not happy about this movie even existing. No, not because of the alleged conduct of Ezra Miller, because it's not a faithful telling of the Flashpoint story. What this really is a DCEU Flashpoint movie. This is a Flashpoint movie for the old DCEU timeline and franchise. And this movie does something very ambitious, should I say. It retreads in Man of Steel, in the world of Zack Snyder. So this is going to be very, very interesting. Now, we know what the Snyderverse stands and fans are like. So if what we see when, the Flash is treading in Man of Steel, and we get this Flashpoint version of Zod and Faora, and we see Kara and Michael Keaton's Batman and Barry Allen fighting these versions, Flashpoint versions of Faora and Zod, and they're treading in the Man of Steel movie. It's going to be very interesting what people make of it, especially the Snyderverse stands. Now, from what I saw in the test screening, it was very accurate to what we saw in Man of Steel. Not in terms of Black Zero and all of that, it looks good. It really looks good. Machete has done a very, very good job with this. But we know what the Snyderverse stands are like, and they are going to nitpick, and we know that. But I think this is going to be a celebration of the DCEU. So I'm not that triggered that this isn't an accurate telling of Flashpoint. This is the Flashpoint. This is the DCEU's version of Flashpoint. And that's okay. That's totally fine. So it's actually very interesting because Soups had a poll. What are you looking forward to seeing tonight at Super Bowl? The Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 trailer or the Flash movie trailer? Just about by a couple of percent, the Flash movie won out. Now, Soups Soups talks about DC, Marvel, and I think if you could argue that he talks a lot more about Marvel than he does DC, and he's probably got more Marvel fans than DC fans following him. So I think it's interesting. That's an interesting thing. I mean, make of that what you will. But I think there's huge anticipation for the Guardians 3 trailer as well. And I'm excited to see that. Apparently it's happening. I hope I haven't got that wrong. You never know. You read one thing on the internet and then it turns out not to be true. But anyway, it looks like we're getting Guardians 3 and we're getting the very first Flash trailer as well. So I'm really excited to see Guardians Volume 3, the trailer, as well as the movie as well. So, I can't wait to see that. But for me, as a DC guy and someone who predominantly talks about DC on my channel, I am so hyped to see this trailer. I'm hyped to see this 2-minute plus trailer. I'm hyped to see the fans' reactions. And of course, as we know, the Snyderverse stands will have their own opinion. They will twist the narrative. And that's okay. But we will react to that trailer here on Movies TV Mad. And you will never get a shill reaction from me. If it's a crap trailer and I don't like it, I'll tell you. If it's a brilliant trailer and I love it, I'll tell you. This is what I was trying to explain to you. I'm a very balanced guy. I'm passionate, but I'm a balanced guy. So if that slate from James Gunn a week or so ago came out and I didn't like it, I would have told you. But I did like it. I genuinely liked it. as I've always said, I don't have any allegiances. So please subscribe if you're new, because this is not an allegiance-based channel. I'm not here for Zach. I'm not here for James Gunn or Peter Safran. I'm here for the best movies and television dramas we can get. And that's what I want to see. I want to be entertained. Are you not entertained? I want people to be entertained, and I want to be entertained. So I'm always honest about my opinions, about what I see. I'm not on the payroll of any studio. No studio is interested in putting me in the payroll, because as you can see, I'm a very, 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 very ant-sized YouTube channel. And that's it. That's the reality. I can't hide that reality. So I will tell you what I think about this movie. So we've discussed before how this movie hasn't been given any notes in terms of the, of the main product. But obviously some things are going to change at the end of the movie, which basically means Michael Keaton isn't Batman in a new timeline. Sasha Calle isn't Supergirl in a new timeline. We'll see what happens with Wonder Woman. We'll see, obviously, what, Cavill's Superman isn't going to be the Superman going forward in the new universe. And we already know that. And we know that Ben Affleck won't be Batman going forward. We'll see what they do. So basically, with all these conundrums happening around DC now, this makes the Flash movie a highly important movie. But I don't think that's the only reason that you should go and see it. I think this is a really, really good movie, and I do believe that people will enjoy it. Again, I have no allegiances. So the Snyder fans will say, you're betraying Zack, you're betraying... No, I love Zack. I want him to restore the Snyderverse, but I think people are going to enjoy the Flash movie. That's what balance means, everyone. It doesn't mean I just give you the news and sit here, well, this happened and that's it, and I'm not going to tell you my opinion just in case I get hate. That's not who I am. But balanced means that I will tell you what I think without bias, without allegiances. I'm just a guy who loves DC. I don't really read comics, right? I was introduced to DC via Superman the movie. And then really found out a lot more about DC via the Smallville show and the Titans comic that used to do a Smallville magazine monthly, and they used to have lots of information in there about DC. So I know a lot more, and special features in Smallville, DVDs back in the day, told you a lot about the comics. So that's how I know so much about DC. Smallville's really the reason that I fell in love with the entirety of DC. And Superman the movie is the reason I fell in love with Superman. So that's what you'll get from me. And when we finally see this Flash trailer, you will get an honest reaction. I'm not here to react in certain ways so I can become successful. Sometimes I'm going to say things that you don't like. And sometimes that means you may unsubscribe from this platform. And as sad as that makes me when I see 1 less subscriber or 5 less subscribers, that's the reality. What do I do? As a YouTuber, as someone on social media, these are the decisions you make. Do I speak from the heart and never become successful? Or do I tell people what they want to hear? Do I play the audience like a fucking fiddle? Or am I honest with the audience? I think that's the most important thing. So even though I would love this channel to be very successful, I'm not going to sacrifice myself to become successful. So by some miracle, if this channel ever becomes successful, it's because I told you my actual opinion. So you know where I stand on everything. You know what I think about Hollywood. You know what I think about representation and inclusion. And I believe there's no genuine inclusion in Hollywood. And I've explained to you why before. So you know my stances on all of this stuff. And I don't hide for anyone. And if that means I get cancelled, if that means people unsubscribe from my platform, that's okay. So no question about it. When I react to the Flash trailer tomorrow for the first time here on Monday's edition of the DC Universe Daily. It will be a genuine reaction. And I must admit, I'm so excited to react on tomorrow's show because I think it's a big movie. It's a DC movie. People say to me, well, it doesn't matter anymore. It certainly does matter. But what's more important is that people have worked hard on this film. And I think it's going to be one hell of a movie. And I actually think this DC movie has more chance of being more successful than the others because people love Easter eggs, love cameos, love this type of thing. And if you are a fan of the DC Extended Universe, and when I say DC Extended Universe, I mean Man of Steel, BVS, Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, Zack Snyder's Justice League, all of those films, Shazam, all of them. Even the one, like all of them. Right, if you're a fan of that franchise, and I am a fan of that franchise, I think there's more good in that franchise than bad, and I'm talking about individually the films. It doesn't matter that they didn't really create a connective franchise very well, right? That was the original plan by Snyder, but it didn't work out. I'm still a fan of the DC Extended Universe, and I think if you're a fan of Henry Cavill, obviously it doesn't look like he'll be in the movie, but if you're a fan of Man of Steel or BVS or Wonder Woman, the Flash movie celebrates that well. But now, by the end of the movie, things are going to be different than they were originally. That's interesting because what I'm going to see at the end of this movie isn't what I saw at the end of the movie in the test screening that created a very different timeline. And now that timeline isn't going to exist. So, yes, of course, I'm excited to see what they've changed. But I'm genuinely excited about this movie. Now, last year, I was very angry with Ezra Miller and wanted them off the movie. I wanted them replaced. That wasn't possible, ultimately. Now, I have simmered down about Ezra. I'm done with it. I don't care anymore. I want to see this movie, and I think it has a great potential of being successful. I also think that Blue Beetle has the potential of making some money. I don't think big money, but some money that, I think maybe the movie may surprise people, which will be good. And of course, now, interestingly, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is the one I can't really gauge how people are going to react to it and what kind of money it's going to make. So that's going to be really, really interesting as well. But you see, there's never a quiet moment in DC. But at the end of the day, one thing I can guarantee you is that George Clooney isn't going to be Batman, and the Easter Bunny isn't going to be the next Bugs Bunny, right? So as an audience, we have to look. You can't expect the industry to respect you if you don't respect yourself. If you go running on Twitter talking about George Clooney being Batman, if you run on the internet going, oh my God, James Gunn, how could you do this? How could you cast George Clooney as Batman? It just makes you look stupid. Because, we have to have responsibility towards our own conduct. And if we don't, we can't expect people like James Gunn and the other people in the industry not to treat us as a joke. And going around saying that George Clooney is the next Batman is the biggest joke of all, everyone. And, if you really believe that, I genuinely feel sorry for you because you're allowing yourself to be shaken down by con artists. And there's a lot of con artists on the internet, as we well know. But the strange thing is about all the con artists, most of them are very, very successful. 40k subscribers, 50k subscribers, 1 million subscribers. It's the con artists that do well. And it's the people who are honest with us who don't do so well. Because it's like women when they say, I like a bad boy. They don't go with the good guy because apparently the good guy is boring. But at least you know where you stand with the good guy. At least with a YouTuber like me, you know where you stand. This is a place of straight talk. And yeah, I'm embarrassed for the fandom for actually believing that it was ever a thing that George Clooney was going to be Batman. Never going to happen. But I will be back tomorrow. We will be reacting to the Flash movie trailer, and I can't wait to see you then, because I think this trailer is going to be epic. This has been Sunday's edition of the DC Universe Daily with me, Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wife. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss this beautiful perfection, and I'll see you again in the next video. Until I see you again, goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen. See you again soon.